Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 20th edition of Microsoft NextGen Heroes. Today, we have a guest who is a Microsoft MVP, an expert in the DevSecOps area, and a person who has a really interesting career story, the Martin Dimovski journey. Before we start with all these fun discussions, let's quickly see the agenda for today. So, firstly, a short introduction about me and Boyan, your hosts for today. Then a side note for Microsoft Learn and our community. And after that, we will start the talk with Martin. Along the way, I encourage you to send any questions that you may have for him, and we'll try to answer all of them at the end of the session. Now, without further ado, Boyan, take the stage.
Thank you, Marco, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone, again. My name is Boyan Ivanovski. For those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome to Microsoft NextGen Heroes. And this is, believe it or not, our 20th session, so it's a small jubilee. So thank you, everyone, again, for joining on this special occasion for us. And today we're going to celebrate with an amazing session with Martin. So, something more about me. I'm currently a master's student in AI and Big Data at Barcelona Technology School, also a Microsoft Student Ambassador, just as Marco, trying to spread tech vibes everywhere we go, trying to share knowledge with like-minded peers, be present in different conferences, events related to Microsoft technologies and products, and simply living the Microsoft life. Something more about me, I would say that I'm an Azure AI enthusiast, and definitely I love Azure AI Foundry, which is my favorite playground. Without further ado, I would just throw back the stage to you, Marco.
Yeah, thank you all again for joining us today. My name is Marco Atanasov, and I'm currently working as a DevOps engineer at Macedonian Telecom, while also pursuing my software engineering degree here at Skopje, Macedonia. I would also like to mention that I love being part of MLSA and Microsoft Hero community because I have made a lot of lasting friendships and have improved my professional life as well. Next, I would also like to tell you about Microsoft Learn. And if you haven't joined our community yet, you can join it on techcommunity.microsoft.com. We are a part of the Microsoft Hero Learning Room, where we are around 6,000 members in the community. And it's a great chance for you to get involved and engage with fellow learners and like-minded individuals. You only need to fill out a form and you'll be welcomed into our learning room.
And now for the moment that we've all been waiting for, our special guest, our Microsoft MVP, the creator of many different communities, a Microsoft trainer, and also a very special person, both for me and Marco. Let's welcome Martin Dimovski on the stage. Martin, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, boys. A really nice introduction. Really nice. Before the guest, I really like it how you prepared with the Microsoft Learn and all that stuff. Thank you for a nice introduction one more time. And thanks all that will watch this show later or that are watching us right now at the live.
So, we have usually when we do this NextGen Spotlights, we start with the very early career questions. So the first question that I would like to ask you is to explain us a bit about your story, how you got involved with technology at first. What was your earliest thought when you think now from this perspective to the past? What was the thing that made you fall in love with technology?
Yeah, okay, I know. It was really on the early stage, mainly in the primary school, I must be honest. I think the first touch ever with any device like this, like similar on the computers, if I may be honest, like that, I think it was the Nintendo in that period for me. in the primary school, originally, for those who don't know me, basically I am from the Macedonia, a very small country on the Balkan, also like Bojan and Marco, basically. So in that period in my primary school, there was computers, and before the show, I Googled them. They were specifically made in the Yugoslavia. They were called Sem and Marta, where you can learn basic. I was thinking it's a worldwide, by the way, boys. But also in discussion with a lot of other people, nobody mentioned them. Everything was Commodore or this or that or some other computers, but nobody mentioned them as Sem and Marta. And I said, does they really were Sem and Marta? And today I was just checking, and basically that were done by some of the companies there in the Balkan, really in the 80s. And basically they were a bit basic, so you can really learn about that. And yeah, I think my first touch point was, I think, at home with the Nintendo and Super Mario, of course, Tetris. But then on the computer side, it's these two computers, Sem and Marta, which we had as a part, I think it was 6 or 7 degree in the primary school in our educational system, where basically you draw like letters, like a small dots. And basically, I think that is where it starts. All of that for me, if I go back in the time, I think there was nothing. I think everything else was a joystick with the game. So it was not really, I know Aladdin and all that stuff in the past, but I think the real touch where I sit on the computer and just trying to do something, I don't know what, but something, I think it was this one of these computers, Sem and Marta. So it was the primary school, if I may be honest, with both of you guys.
Yeah, I'm guessing that inspired you to enroll into a university that where you study computer science. Let me ask you, did you study that? And while during your studies, did you already know where you wanted to end up, or did you explore along the way?
First of all, after the high school, I remember that I was quite good at mathematics, and basically, I remember there was 3 options. So the 3 options were, one of them was the lawyer, the second one was a drummer, and the third one was something related with mathematics and informatics. So in the high school, the only school in that period that had something related to of course, I chose informatics in that period. And I remember that there was, in the first year, we started learning Pascal. So you have a computers like 486, you press turbo, and then it becomes 586. So it gets more power. And in the high school, all 4 years, it was building applications in Pascal and all of that functions, programming in that period on that blue screen. So we were happy when you can change the font color to green or something like that. So after that, after this basic, a little bit in the high school was Pascal in the high school, all 4 years. And then, the mathematics continues to be, I was quite good, informatics also. And then, I decided that I think the right way is to continue with this informatics journey. And then, the University of Informatics, how was the full name? The natural science and something. And then it was included also the informatics there. Basically, I don't know how it is now, but in that period, from 40 subjects, that is always a complaint. I think in total were 40 or 50. 50, I think it were. 25 or 30 subjects were linear algebra, calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, another algebra, and some other, basically half of the subjects were mathematics, to be completely honest. And then you have 25 subjects, which are networks, cryptography, basic of programming to installing operating system, .NET, HTML and CSS in that period, ASP.NET I mentioned, and security and cryptography was another subject. So that's how it extends basically from the high school. I really like the computers, and basically then I just continued that. And I think it was a high school, almost beginning of high school, when I got my first computer, Pentium something, 1.2 or 1.3 with 128 megabytes of RAM memory, 20 gigabytes of hard drive. And basically, when you're on that age, you usually install some games, GTA or Warcraft and all that stuff. But the journey continues there. To be back to the topic, where basically I just stay with computers and continue, to follow this journey, if I may call it like that, in the informatics area.
I mean, for a person who was born from the 2000s, for me, when you say like those computers with such low capacities and in memory and just like some very basic characteristics, it sounds crazy. Like, how could you even play games on, or even do something more on that PC? That's wonderful. I mean, it's mind blowing.
Indeed, and I remember. I'm happy that I had one school friend in the high school. Usually, you have one rich, how it's called, a rich friend that his father is giving him money to buy games every month. So, for example, I remember, I think the first Warcraft was 3 CDs, and it cost around 15 or 20 euros, if I can translate. So GTA was also 10 or 15 euros. And there was only one store, basically, in the city center where you go there. Also, the music was similar, 15 songs, and the CD was, I think, 5 euros or something like that. And usually one friend of one friend of ours basically have to buy this game with the 4 or 5 CDs. Another one will buy cheaper CD with the music. Then you have some new songs at home and all that stuff, because also was a evolution of the internet in that period. For example, the internet was around 100 euros per month for 2 or 3 gigabytes. In the company where Marco currently works, I think in that period. And then there was another provider that basically took over that, how it's called, monopoly, I think, or something, where basically they made the prices cheaper. So I remember I had my first internet package was 60 euros for 3 gigabytes of internet on computer.
Compared to the day, that's nothing. I mean,
today I think 3 gigabytes goes on the phone on 2 days. On 2 days, I think they go on the phone with the music and all that stuff. And indeed, what you said, I remember the first game where I asked my parents, I want to buy really more expensive computer. And I still, one day I promised myself, and also when I talk with the kids, one day I will sit to play Farcraft, I think it was called, not Warcraft, Far Cry. Far Cry, the first game. I started feeling that, how it's called, the English term, when you move, but really latency, basically when you play the game. And I think maybe one of the first games that make evolution on this graphic design and all that stuff, because I think half of my friends also that have really expensive computers, because my high school was counted as an informatics school where the people will continue with informatics and all that stuff. So usually even those computers really had a latency when they play the game. So I think Far Cry was one of that. I remember Call of Duty was only on the first stage when the soldiers are coming out from the boat. That was Call of Duty #1. And that is where you have latency. But after that, it's getting better, while you play the game, because it's a single view. You go, you kill soldiers there and all that stuff. GTA was also in that period like that. But I remember Far Cry was really evolution because you have a panoramic view, really a lot of effects and all that stuff. So you needed really a expensive computer. I'm saying like that. Of course, we are talking about performance, but in that period was really quite expensive. All of these that now it's really available on in every store and
Exactly.
online, of course. Indeed,
Also, another very important question that popped in my mind is, in this early career, when you're learning, when you're a student, especially at university, we all have felt this, self-doubt, like uncertainty of what I'm getting into. Is this the right direction that I'm taking in life? How did you deal with that? Have you had any problems, especially like in terms of, having this powerful self-esteem to trace your way, to
confidence,
trace your career, and
confidence, and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
it was a difficult. I think the transition for me from the primary to high school was the only difficulty, if I may be honest, completely. My mother was focused more on the school base. So if you finish school, you will find a nice work and do the stuff. My father was more on the side where he was saying, yeah, if he became drummer, drummer is needed either for wedding, either for everything. So you can play on anything. So that was, I think, a first time in my life when they were really not shouting, but a long discussion. Where should I go and how to continue? And I remember that 2 days before the registrations was open for the high school, I said I'm going in that high school. And then they got, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but in that school, you need informatics, we need to buy computers and all the stuff. By the way, in that period, 650 euros was the basic computer, like mine, Pentium 1.3 with 20 gigabytes of hard drive. The drums were 60 euros. So that was basically where they were complaining to each other. I think it's better because these are cheaper, and maybe in the future, these drums will bring more money, let's call it like that, for the future of our son and blah, blah, blah. But at the end, I think the decision, that was the discussion between them. But at the end, I think I really like the computers, how that works. And somehow, like in early ages kid, I wanted to play games. And then you see your friends around you, the surrounding that basically are playing games. And then I think it was Counter-Strike and all that stuff started online, also the journey in the high school and all that stuff. So I think the confidence in me was there. The only, I think, where I didn't feel comfortable was, I think, in the university on the second year. I think I failed one exam. It was basic of programming, something like that. One old teacher, and he was really not rude, but a little bit really not a nice person and all that stuff. So that was really, there was 3 4 professors, I would say it like that, that really can motivate you. I think one of them, it's a quite famous also, I think both of you have heard about it, Marian Gushev. It's a quite famous. Dejan is there also, and I think there was 2 3 others that didn't cross in my mind at this moment. But there was one old guy in the first year where it really demotivates you, and it was algorithm and basic of programming. So the algorithm, you need to fill in the paper on the Cyrillic letters, while this, that, why that, and then he just look like this and throw the paper. It was really not a nice feeling for any student. So that was, I think, the only moment where I felt doubt about how this will go. If this guy now on early stage, it really kills your vibe and all that stuff. So that is the only thing. Otherwise, I was always quite confident about the journey, that the computers will be there and it will continue. I really wanted to learn about computers. And so far, I'm still learning, to be honest. And yeah, on the motivational side, I think maybe in that ages, it doesn't matter what your parents are saying, because also I think we are all adults now, if I may call it like that. When you fail an exam, you need to repay, for example, to take the exam and listen the year one more time. So that also affects, for example, the any family, if I may say it like that. So it's I was not worried that even when I failed on that exam couple of times that it will be bad or my parents will shout at me and all that stuff, but also the confidence, I think, here, if this is learning, and then on top of that you have 25 mathematics subjects like algebra, linear, and all that stuff, it's a little bit killing your vibe. But I want to say also that in that period, because we are growing, and I think university it's around 16, 17 or 18, how it will come, I think it's that age, if I may say like that. So I think the most important is the people around you. So if you go constantly on the university, you will get the motivation, I don't know, from your colleague, from other colleague that failed last year also on the same exam, that he felt the same struggle. So you share your thoughts, because in that period is not the same like now when you work. You know, when you work in a big companies also, you have this not fighting, but it's a high level discussions and it's shouting between the people. But when you're students, also the brain works differently, and you're trying how to trick the system for you to be better, or how to improve the system, how you can gain some leverage here for the professor, for you to get the valid, you know, and finish that subject on time and all that stuff. So I would say the motivation was really for me on those students' days on the university with a lot of colleagues that we are still friends with, a lot of them, to be honest, because they are also in the IT industry, most of them. We see each other. And yeah, a couple of weeks ago, also a colleague from that student days, he is living in Luxembourg at this moment. So he sent me a message on Instagram and said, I see you're traveling, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to drink a coffee? So we didn't saw each other maybe 10 years ago or something like that. So we just saw each other, both of us with kids and all that stuff, and just, you know, funny thoughts, how was on the university, what we have been doing and all that stuff. So the confidence to summarize a little bit, because I took it quite extent on this question, but I think it's also very important for any student, because it can happen to fail on that exam. And then you see one time, second time, third time, and it's really not working. And if you don't have the right support around you, which mainly, as I said, on those years is the colleagues, the students around you also that struggle, I think that's the best motivation that I had, I think, for me in that period.
Yeah, understood. I also wanted to ask you, what was your first step into the professional tech world, and how did you get that role? How did you evolve past that also?
Let's say
Well,
your
I
first
think,
internship, or your
sorry?
first job.
Yeah, the first internship for me, it's a quite difficult, but I started really on the high school working for no money, voluntary work in one of the biggest IT company in Macedonia called Neocom. So I was working there second year in my high school and the third year in the high school, basically on the summer vacation. I was in the system integration part, basically how to make a computer, basically. So motherboard, graphic card, maintenance of the computers when the people were coming. And basically, as an award, I got in that period more than 100 drivers. That was one of the award the first summer. I don't know if for both of you some is known drivers or what I mean with that. For example, for any graphic card in the past, you need to have a special software to install that so that can work on your computer. So you need to install for the motherboard, for the sound, for the graphic, for the internet modem in that period, all that stuff. Basically, you need to have all the drivers. So that was my first award in the second year of the high school on that summer vacation. And the next year I went again, and I got a HP keyboard as a award. So nothing was bad. There was no money in that period. And basically those are some professional on high level where you go to learn the thing, how they work, what is happening. Because in that period also, now it's completely different, if I may be honest. So in the past, if you buy a computer, you pay additional money to have an operating system. So usually the people, because it was quite expensive, they will come to some local guy like me, and I can install Windows HP, Windows 2000, Windows 7 also. So that was some period in that time where basically, yeah, I can say not really professional, not earning money from that, but really gaining knowledge and basically learn quite a lot in that period. Because for anyone, I was always saying the foundation is most important. For me were the computers in that period, and basically I gained a lot of knowledge. And yeah, I think at the end, I say usually it paid out, if I may call it like that.
It really sounds interesting to me, that period of computing, because since I know about myself, I have my Windows operating system and I click the GUI and everything works perfectly.
True.
But
True.
you also got to live through the internet, the virtualization, now AI. While working professionally, how did the workplace evolve and how did the IT industry evolve?
Yeah. Evolved a lot. So, for example, in that period was really even. It reminds me, I forgot to mention that after you install the Windows, you need additional 45 minutes for the drivers, for the basic applications, and for the antivirus in that period. That was must in the past. For example, now automatically comes with the operating system, but in that period there was a Note 32 asset, AVG, I think, and couple of others. I even still remember the website. I think it still exists. I'm checking ninite.com. Let me see quickly just before. Yeah, still exists. Ninite.com. If you open, you don't need to have a CD with setups. Basically, you can download if you have internet and just install any basic application. So yeah, that was some starting period. Then I became in one also as a voluntary the last year of my high school as a WordPress developer. So I was installing WordPress and Joomla in that period as a website. So that was a nice 4 months of learning. And then, yeah, this is still high school, by the way. And then I started university, finished that. And when it comes in the last 3 or 4 exams, I started looking for a job. So my first role was really IT support guy, installing printer drivers, changing the color of the printers, toner. And it was in a big corporation, Vienna Insurance Group. So that was my first role as IT support guy, to reinstall the computers, install drivers, printers, and all that stuff. Then evaluates to system administrator. So then you enter to the server room and you see it's very cold there. There is a AC, there is a cameras, all that stuff. And basically, yeah, I think that is where it evolves. Those 3 or 4 years, I became a sysadmin. Where in the third year, which is a proud moment, this is 2013, by the way, I was not nominated, but I won as a best employee in this corporation for the Southeastern Europe in the Vienna Insurance Group. So that's 2013. So I was, not nominated, but I won the category. I just got the letter from the corporation main office, and I went for a 7 days trip in Vienna. So everywhere, everything paid out and all that stuff. So it was really nice and all that stuff. And what happened next? Then I wanted to change because now you from IT support you became sysadmin and you're a very smart guy and blah blah blah. So I challenged myself. I went as a in that period there is still not DevOps, but sysadmin was one way of a DevOps, maybe I can call it like that. I was working in a company that works for United States clients, so I was deploying websites on AWS a little bit, then on mostly taking care about the Microsoft .NET developers in the company there, and also working for a client that had 2-3 websites on the AWS. And that's my one and only experience with AWS in my 20 years of career, if I may be honest with both of you. And what happened next? Next, I moved on and I was working for a Norwegian company as a sysadmin for migration, maintenance of Windows servers, and basically one of the, I would say, biggest project in that company that I was really part of it. Basically, in Norway, they have the oil platforms. I think you're aware of that. Basically, there was an engineers that goes on that platform. So somebody need to configure, this is 2014-15, one suitcase, like a James Bond. You open the suitcase, and there is a small laptop, modem, a router, sorry. And then on the router, there is a SIM card that connects to the domain controller in our office. So I'm really proud to say that I have configured all of that scenario and all of that stuff. And it was quite successful. At the same time, 2013-14, I also started a journey with Azure because there was a lot of exchange in that period, Office 365 migrations, and the people were exploring the cloud. Also living in Oslo for 7 months in that period because of those projects, because the mailboxes were quite with the sensitive data, customer data, and all that stuff. And that is where it's still called sysadmin, by the way, some type of a cloud admin, if I may call it like that, because you touch upon Office 365. That's it. That's why you're called also cloud admin. And yeah, later on, what was it? After that, I moved to similar role, but more on the DevOps side, working with Dynamics finance and operations, but also part of the infra, one and only, like a team lead to 3 other people, maintaining the whole infrastructure, deploying. That is when it starts also the Azure DevOps, when it's officially published. I think it's 2016 or 17, if I'm not mistaken. And that is where I start learning these tasks, deployments, agents, and all that stuff. I kept there 3 or 4 years, if I may be completely honest. Yeah. So everything in the cloud. Dynamics is a quite complex system, so we take some time to learn all of that. And after that, what happened is that COVID happened, basically. And then after COVID, I got I'm calling that non-negotiable offer. One was for Switzerland, the other one was for Netherlands. And basically, I chose Netherlands, and I relocate myself with the family and working as a DevOps engineer the first year and a half for the Power Platform automation. And then as I'm now also part of the CISO department in the DevOps security team.
Oh, that's a crazy journey. I mean, from the internship to to Netherlands.
Yeah.
It's an amazing journey. You know what? I wanted to know about how is, for example, a day of a principal DevSecOps advocate, and especially a
Yeah.
team lead looks like. What do you
Yeah.
do? What are the things that you do every day? You know, how do you start your day? How do you end the day? Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. Well, based on the previous experience, basically, usually with what type of people they will knock on the door, if I may call it like that. Basically, so as I'm ex DevOps engineer, now in the security side on the similar role. Usually, in the CISO department, you have a lot of security issues. That's always. But as a normal day, usually, what we discuss, there is also a lot of threat modeling request. That's the first step in the DevSecOps journey, if I may call it like that. Always, every second day, there is some developer that is asking for some advice for secure coding and all that stuff. I created a nice journey there because any application that has done a threat modeling, we have quite a lot of data there. So that means that that threat modeling step can help to any colleague of mine tomorrow. Either it's a pen tester, either it's a monitoring guy, whatever. It will help because all the data is there. What's the rating of the application? What's the confidentiality, privacy? What's the possible gap that can happen, can go wrong, and all of that stuff. So usually it have quite a lot of meetings and discussions, who is right, who is wrong, if I may call it like that, because every developer is his own book, I'm calling like that. So every developer knows how to develop code, how to write code, what to do there, and all this stuff. And now, because you have been there in the past, you are aware that that developer need to finish the task. He has some small maybe pressure from some product owner or something. So usually it's balance, if I may call it like that, who is right, who is wrong. But at the end, he take a little bit from our side, from the security side, what need to be there. And also we take something from him just to be mixed and balanced, if I may call it like that. But usually on a daily basis, usually that is happening, to be completely honest. Either it's a request threat modeling, secure coding, advice how to do and what is missing to me for the pen test, for example, to request. Then you have secure pipelines, of course, are there. We have created policy 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So that's less issues on that because you have some standard and policies. I think more or less, I think the day look like that. And it's quite interesting because you meet a lot of people, different characters, different knowledgeable guy and a little bit less knowledgeable guys. Let me put it that way, that knows all of that stuff. But in summary, that's how it looked one day, if I may be honest.
That is really interesting. I also wanted for us to circle a bit back. And along your career journey, where did you start your MVP journey? And what stood out to you when you first joined?
Yeah. Well, before MVP, I usually say I'm proud MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer from 2019. And I'm really proud of that because you teach people, you share knowledge with people, you share all of this experience, if I may call it like that. And I'm quite happy to say that I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer. At this moment, it's a quite difficult period, this last 2-3 months, because a lot of exams are retiring, but new ones are coming. So there is a lot of discussions also with the students, with the people, and all that stuff. But it will get back to the track. I'm happy to see that Microsoft is following all latest technologies, all that is happening with AI. So now in every exam, you have a piece of AI. That means that it's part of any life and everyone need to be aware and need to use that and know how to use it. So there is also a lot of turbulence on that side. But before I say MVP, I'm always saying I'm first MCT. And then also community lead in Netherlands, MCT community lead. And then it comes MVP, which happens, I think, 2023, 23 or 24, 24, I think it was. The first one, I was nominated, first of all, by Elkan. And I was rejected, and I don't hide that. But then I got nominated by Thomas Mauer, and basically I was awarded with the MVP. The feeling, it's really, how to say? Yeah, I don't know how to explain with words. There is no words for that feeling when you get that award. And it's really interesting because They really contribute for the community. You get a feedback back. You discuss with a lot of fellow community, MVP communities. It's really interesting to hear their story, your story, because there is always a reason why you are MVP. What do you do there with the MVP? In which category
Exactly.
you are?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of this also on what you guys are doing with the as the student ambassadors. Basically, uh, it's always help each other and see where and how you can contribute to help to other people. Basically, that's why it's called community at the end of the day. So it starts 2024 with that. Last year I was rejected again because I think I mixed up some informations there, to be completely honest. But this year I was again nominated by Elkan. Thanks to Elkan a lot for the whole support in this journey. So Elkan, it's basically half of the award it's for him, half it's for me. I'm saying usually like that because he was always believing in me. And yeah, this year I'm the 2024 I was awarded for infra as a code. So DevOps, infra as a code, these things. But this year I'm for the security, Microsoft Defender, GitHub security, and all that stuff. And yeah, that is where the MVP starts. And now it's still there. And I hope for many more years. Let's see.
The journey
Hopefully.
continues. Exactly.
Yeah. The journey always continues and the learning always continues because we must learn all the time,
Of course.
looking on what is happening, how everything is going, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
You
you
mentioned
need to constantly learn to stay relevant in this age.
exactly.
You also mentioned that Microsoft is evolving their certificates and adding AI to them. But do you also add AI into your workflow? How do you fit in AI into your workflow today?
In my
How do you
day,
use it?
for a couple of friends that are listening, they will laugh also later on or now. If somebody's watching, I usually I'm using very often Copilot for some stuff related, of course, with the Word documents, presentation, all that stuff. But I must be honest, my main AI tool is Claude, and I'm calling it brother-in-law. So I added an instruction. So we call each other brother when we discuss, by the way. So whenever I am saying something wrong, he will reply to me, brother, stop. Now we do like this, or this is wrong, this is correct. So it's really funny and all the stuff. In the workflow, I'm a big fan of automation, usually, especially with Claude, and I have a reason about that. I don't hide that. I know maybe as a Microsoft guy, usually people will say, yeah, why don't you use Copilot and all that stuff? Yeah, I'm using a Foundry, I'm using Copilot, I'm building chats and all that stuff. But this is more easier also for another thing. And I think soon maybe I will find the time to record the video to explain that also on my channel. Claude, for now, is the only one that have a direct connection to Microsoft Learn. So if you open the connections, there is a Microsoft Learn connection. What is that? For me, especially as a trainer, MVP, or somebody that is following all the latest updates, I just go there, ask about that, and he will find me the right link and what I need there. So usually also when I'm preparing for exam, I read also what need to be there, but also I'm asking Claude, hey, can you find me all the Microsoft Learn links where I can read them and learn about them before I go to the exam? So that's in one of workflow, and every day I'm using, that's for sure. And trying to automate as much as possible. I'm still a bit skeptic to install on my computer, so I'm using the web version. I must be completely honest with all of you. It's not that I do not believe, but somehow I'm afraid of my private data. Let me put it: a bank account, birth certificates, all of that. I have that in a separate folder, and I'm a bit skeptic about that part. Not that I have millions on my bank account, but it's still, I think, a little bit, that feeling not nice. And that's why I'm planning to buy. I still didn't find the time. I have basically Windows Surface it is. I want to install there because there is nothing there. So it's basically just one local account, and I'm planning to install there, and from there to automate as much as possible. Mainly things like, creating calendar events, emails, and all that stuff. Working on that. And in the day-to-day life, basically is that. On the work-related stuff, I'm focused more on the AI security. So I think if I connect those dots, I think you get why I am not installing the AI on my computer, but I'm using the web version, because there is also a lot of data leakage. Maybe some of you have read the news in Netherlands on the provider, Marco, like you are working here. It's called Odido. It was leaked 6.2 billion of data of customers, and the provider sent an email. They got the data, and the data, what it is: your name, your surname, your bank account, your street address, and your postcode. What is not stolen? The agreement with Odido. Nobody cares about it. The agreement that you have with them, what type of phone line, what type of internet you have, and all. So yesterday, I think we received an email, all the customers, that he apologized. They worked to improving the security stuff and all the stuff, but data was leaked. So coming back to the original question and about AI, I work a lot with that. I create, I deploy stuff, but still a little bit some skepticism in me to install it on my main computer where I have all the data and all the things that I have.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, it's a cool tool, and everybody is using it. And I guess the same goes for me and Marco. But the thing is, I mean, there are still some reliability issues, I would say, that are not covered by AI, that I think will still need some time to be polished.
Fully agree.
And I think it's a very powerful tool, but we need to use it very carefully, because, as you mentioned, data leakage is the thing that we don't want to happen. Especially
Indeed. And when I need to develop something or when I'm building something, I use GitHub Copilot to be completely transparent. And it's more or less you choose the model, basically. Claude is using Opus, Sonnet, or all that stuff. So GitHub have that option, but does not have access to my whole computer, for example.
Exactly.
And that's why, for me, for example, when I build application or this or that, just exploring or doing some stuff, also, I prefer to use GitHub Copilot. And for the things that I'm curious to know, there is, of course, Claude or ChatGPT. Copilot is always here. So that's how it works. But completely honest, I'm quite still not fully confident, if I may call it, to install the any AI tool on my computer, to be completely honest.
And before we conclude the session, we have some questions from the public. We are never letting the public down, so let's dig into them, and let's answer the questions from our fans. First, we have the question from Hakan. So the question is, what is the biggest technological revolution that you have experienced in the past, and what do you think will be the next revolution?
What I experience is that, don't laugh, you two, just to let you know. In the high school, there was a really nice song. I don't remember the song. And I remember that we found a way to transfer that song via floppy drive. One floppy drive was, if I remember correctly, 3.5 megabytes, something like that. So the song was 7 or 8. So we found that a tip and trick in that period to compress the song, for example, MP3 format on some computer. You press add to zip file, and then you point out the floppy drive, and then he starts working 1 hour, and then when it finishes, it asks for the second floppy drive, and then when it finishes, it comes to the third, and then it's finished. You have 3 parts of zip file for one song. Then you go at home, you extract, and he's asking the same: first floppy, second floppy, third floppy. And that was the first really a little bit weird situation. But then the evolution that I saw, it's, oh, now we have MP3, and then you put on USB drive 10,000 songs, you play on the radio in the car or at home and all the stuff. So for me, I think the biggest funny thing that I experienced in my life, and I will never forget, was the floppy drive replaced with really something. You put the phone in the anywhere and it starts playing, YouTube, every song. And in the past was really one song on 3 floppy drives. So just saying how different and how big a revolution it happened. So which is nice. The next big revolution, oh, that will be funny thing. Yeah, I think the biggest revolution is, in my opinion, the knowledge. I think the biggest revolution we will see, or that's my personal opinion, I don't want to affect you two as a host, if somebody sue you guys, so just thinking loud there. I think the next big evolution will be that a lot of people need to learn how to use AI, because I think there will be even more mistakes in the future, and all the data will be leaked on the internet, which means that all their private data, either it's a photos, ID, this and that, will be somewhere. And that's not that somebody is stupid or I don't know, but because of the knowledge. The revolution that I'm expecting is that a lot of people, because of that missing knowledge, it's possible to lose some job. And that is where I'm afraid. We say everyone, machines will replace us and all that stuff. But my statement is the machine will change us if we allow to them. So we teach the machine, of course, both of you and all of the people are working with AI, but we need to be really in a close by how AI works, what is happening, where this going, why this is happening, and all the stuff. Machines will be there, and that the biggest revolution is not that I see that it's the best if we as a people don't change this behavior, because I expect that maybe not in 5 but in 10 years that it will be not really a nice situation, and that is the biggest revolution, where you will not see people at work but really mostly machines because of this AI. It's not that it's not a bright future. We can change all of that. But I think with all of us learning something, sharing a knowledge, sharing a story, and again, I will go back now, what I seen, floppy disk. I think everyone saw that and experienced that in one song on 3 floppy disks. And now, hey Siri, play Justin Timberlake. And it starts playing, easy. So that's evolution of, I would say, 20-25 years. So AI started I think a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So as I said, not in the next 5 but in the 10 years from now, I usually say, if the people do not learn a new stuff and step out from their comfort zone, I really I think we all will see this revolution, where it will be quite humanity affected. I know it's not end of the world. It's not all of that. I usually try to motivate people. Hey guys, please learn something, do something, because it's going too fast. I think also, if I ask you, both of you now, in how many 2 years, how much has changed with AI? Let's be honest. I think everyone is just like, wow, how much things can be done and all this stuff.
There's no limit.
Yeah, there is no limit. That's true. And basically, sometimes even I think why I'm saying all of this, even me writing an email, basic email, when you ask Copilot or AI, I feel like, oh, I'm stupid. This is not. It's really, how it acts, how it's doing the things. And usually I think that will be the next revolution, if I may call it like that. We will be maybe some type of SMEs, subject matter experts, which will help to machines to execute stuff. And yeah, that's some big revolution that I'm expecting to happen in the next 20 years, 15, 20 years, in my opinion. I know we are still on the beginning, but what I have seen and how much I have seen in these 2 years, and why I'm saying all of this, because there was last summer on one conference, there was a guy that asked AI how to build a bomb. And in that period, there was no transparency, there was no this security stuff included there. So AI give it how to make a bomb. So I agree with a lot of people. We use it positively, nice, and all the stuff. But there is always some type of people that are really the thoughts a bit different than the normal ones. If ours it's normal, if I may call it like that. And when it comes to the future, I usually say I expect that will to be the next revolution. And if we don't learn and follow all of that, it will be really a big revolution in any company, any person that wants to work and do the stuff.
Definitely. I mean, it's crazy and it's scary also, but we need to be aware. Also, a very interesting question that I have is from a student.
Mhm.
So he says most of my classmates are super secretive about their internship search, treating everyone else like competition. Is that actually smart, or are you better off just being open about it?
So that's the
Something very
difference. I usually don't hide the things. I'm quite honest, and I'm 38 years old. If somebody's curious to know, when I was starting internships and all that stuff. It was quite transparent. Those are the companies. If you're knowledgeable, you get into it and all that stuff. I reading now the question, to be honest, and how I see it, it seems the internship became also as a work. Let me put
exactly.
it that way, where it have a competition even on the early stage. Who is stronger, it will survive, if I may call it like that on the this type of words. Honest, I usually in my life, every time I was honest, and I would say, be honest. Something that it need to be for you, it will come to you. That is how I would. There is so many companies. We are just, for example, we are 3 people now. We can hide that Boyan applied here, Martin applied there, Marco applied there. But the world is so big, and there is really many, 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 many companies. And I usually say, when something needs to happen, it will happen.
It will happen. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So honesty for me, it's always, and I think I'm mentioning. I got also a comment a couple of days ago. I'm mentioning this. I must be honest. I must be honest. But usually, I'm quite honest, and just to be transparent that all my life I was doing that. Honestly, somehow never hide it something like this.
and we have the last question, which is kind of
Mm.
tricky, I would say. Would you have some tips for non-EU citizens trying to get a job or internship in the EU?
Yes, 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 yes. In the war and visas
Yeah,
make more. Yeah. My
I know it's
motto.
a hard
Yeah,
question.
yeah. I have
Yeah,
no. It's I clearly understand the question and
yeah,
the meaning of that. I am coming from non-EU country, and I came to EU country. I started really on a low level, if I may say like that, from IT support, and I think I shared all of the thoughts that I have. And for me, it was always, and it's still the motto. I'm still learning from Michelangelo at age of 87 years old. And just to clarify all of that on everything that I mentioned, and MCT community lead, MVP, blah, 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 working in a nice company and all that stuff. Today, I got, for example, the last 2 months, I was taking the beta exams of all of the latest exams from Microsoft. So today I received an email that I passed AI 300, which is machine learning operation engineer. And I took beta just to check my knowledge, because in the last 2 3 years I was working a lot with models, machine learning, and all that stuff. And I passed the exam. And saying all of that, and my always saying my small piece of advice for any person, if it's AO, non-AO, or whatever, I agree. It's sometimes difficult. I was in that situation. For me, it came on LinkedIn as a message. Are you interested? I have on, and just to clarify, everything was because of the knowledge that I have. And I'm always saying they can take everything from me, but the knowledge, I think it will be difficult to take that from me. And usually I always say, learn, follow the latest trends, take the exams. Yeah, everyone says it's difficult, a lot of exams and all that stuff. Focus on one category: security, developer, uh, what else? ML, AI now, and all that. There is so many categories now. Even in the past was Windows, Linux. There was no cloud, basically. Windows Server and all that stuff. There is a lot of opportunities also to practice as a free credit from Microsoft. I don't know from the other cloud providers, but there is a lot of options to gain a knowledge. If you gain a knowledge and be active, I think everything that it's written, starting from that non-EU citizens, can be deleted automatically, because at the end of the day, we are humans. That's how I see the things. That's how I was taken in Netherlands. So starting from IT support, I'm usually saying, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I
Exactly.
started from IT support, and I got two offers from a Switzerland company to relocate my family and Netherlands to relocate my family. Person from non-EU country that was only, following the journey, going to university, going high school, university, looking for a job to explore, to do the stuff, and then gotten two offers. That was quite good. If to be completely honest, at the end of the day, not every company will take a whole family to pay a flight ticket, to pay a rent a month or two or three, and then to give you still a salary and use the benefits and all that stuff. So only learning can help on that. I'm saying like that. So I would recommend keep learning, follow the latest trends. For example, in Microsoft industry, I think for all three of us here is that I would recommend, take the exams, learning, promote yourself on LinkedIn, because also there is a lot of social networks. In my period, there was no social networks. It was MySpace, and we were listening songs on MySpace. So that's the only thing. I think this everything will disappear once you start getting the certifications, knowledge, and all the stuff. And at the end of the day, now it's everything remote. So also it's possible, if you want to stay in your country but still take European salary, let's call it like that, I think it can be done also remotely.
So the path is long, but the journey continues. I mean,
Always.
learning,
And keep learning.
yeah, keep
Keep
learning,
learning. True.
keep obtaining new certificates, keep enjoying the things that you love doing, do
Indeed.
events, especially like
Yeah.
this one, and simply, live the life at its fullest,
True.
I would say.
Yeah, because that is also, that's why I said on the beginning to Marco that it's really quite nice to share this before the guest about Microsoft Learn community, Microsoft this. I know that there is exam vouchers, there is this, there is that. So just to give an example, I can get a voucher if I'm newbie now from somebody from community, for example, in your community or Microsoft Learn, I can learn. In the past, there was no internet. You need to read everything in the book, 2000 pages. Then you put one CD and then you search in that CD. You don't even know what you're searching there. And then you ask your parents, can you pay me to take that exam? So it was way more difficult than this now. And there is also trial period on Azure, trial period on this, trial period on that. So if I need to make how it's called examples, how it was in the past and now, I think the only thing that you need is have a computer, start learning. And I usually say to my students also, instead of watching Instagram or TikTok, Microsoft Learn is available, and you can just in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you can finish any module about anything that you're willing to know Azure, AI security, M365, Windows servers, anything basically is there. And it's available on your phone.
Martin, this was an amazing talk, an amazing
Thank
podcast that we had. We're almost 1 hour and 5 minutes over time, but it was, and also the game, yeah, yeah, it was.
You owe me.
And we'll repay you definitely.
Yeah. Kidding.
But this time at your Cloudy the Coach podcast.
I need to
Nice
just
decision.
find the time. Indeed, I miss quite a month. Basically, I'm creating a new strategy also to have something with the podcast, but to be more for sharing knowledge, if I may call it, a really deep dive on the modules on what we discuss now, just to explain also to people that it's really easy. It's not that you need to pay with your debit card and going there and blah, blah, blah. So it's free and all that stuff. So thank you for having me. I really enjoyed with both of you. I think, as always, anything needed, I think anyone can find all three of us on LinkedIn. And yeah, any question or certification or whatever, we're always open, I think, to answer all of that.
Exactly. This was our second time that we have Martin as our guest speaker, and I think both of the times it was an honor to have him here. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Have a lovely night, and see you in a couple of weeks with another Microsoft NextGen Hero session. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.
See you.